I'm very much looking forward to it because the reality is anyone can deploy whatever they want on a permissionless network, but I very much question whether they should or not because you don't know actually who's managing this stuff. And I think we've been speaking a lot about privacy and security, and if we move forward into the future of this ecosystem and we have those foundations, the question is how really is it going to be used? And it's a personal belief of mine that if everyone's getting scammed, then still a retail user will not want to use the technology because they're going to use their life savings. So to help have this conversation and hopefully talk a little bit about like responsibility in blockchain, I'd like to invite Remy up to the stage. Remy works for Bitvavo. It's one of the largest exchanges here in the Netherlands. Next up, I'd like to invite Frank. Also, please don't touch any buttons on the microphone because last night it was chaos. Frank is, the founder, one of the founders of Whale Alert, one of the largest Twitter accounts in crypto. And last up, but not least, is Marina from Crystal. Cool. Do you have a microphone, Remy? So thanks ever so much for coming on this beautiful Sunday morning and talking about a topic that we've been trying to avoid for the last 2 days. So very much looking forward to this. So to kick things off, please could you each give a very short introduction of yourself as well as a fun fact, starting with you, Marina.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for having me here today. Pleased to be here. Very good to start Sunday morning from such a conference. My name is Marina Khaustova. I'm COO of Crystal, with Crystal for more than 5 years. We're building a blockchain analytics platform. Fun fact about me, I'm in crypto since before Bitcoin was invented. It's a fun story because I really dreamed of applying to the university, which has a faculty of crypto linguistics. So it was nothing to do with blockchain itself, of course, as you understand. But it's funny to look at that fun fact many years after that. I didn't get there by the fact, and actually was into marketing after that. But eventually got to crypto somehow. So yeah, that's funny to look at.
Cool, thank you.
Can you guys hear me without a microphone?
No, there's a live stream, sorry. Just speak.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, my name is Frank. I'm the founder of Whale Alert. I guess a lot of people know about Whale Alert. I got into crypto in 2017, started as a trader, almost got a heart attack, decided to focus more on data collection and data distribution and analytics. And kind of worked out a bit. So now I'm here. I'm here to talk about scams. We do a lot of on-chain analytics as well. We're really data hungry. And part of the data is also illicit activity on blockchain, which is a really interesting topic and unfortunately very sad topic as well. Interesting fact about me, I actually have a degree in political philosophy. Somehow ended up here. No idea how, but great to be here.
Yes, so I'm Remy van der Nagel, Manager of Business Development and Partnerships and Listings at Bitvavo. For those of you outside of the European Union, we're now the largest European spot exchange, crypto exchange in the world, actually. So that's pretty cool. I joined when we were 20 people, now we're 300 people, so that's amazing growth to witness. I started actually as an internal crypto project expert, which means I know a little bit about many different projects, I would say. And from there on, I advised marketing or product or listings on everything crypto. I was thinking of a fun fact, but I could only come up with a sad fact, which is I recently got scammed, so more on that, sort of scammed. More on that later, probably somewhere in the talk. Looking forward to participate in this discussion and to bring, obviously, centralized exchange can be a customer, touch point where the scam starts or ends, unfortunately. So here to contribute.
Cool. Thanks a lot. Also, this morning, the big disclaimer is these are the views of the panelists and the individuals, not of their represented companies. I think that's very important in this context. So to kick things off really with the first question, really, scams in crypto. We know that there exist. Someone recently went through one. What is common? And then let's start with what's common and what we see, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so I think one of the most common ones, sorry for my voice, by the way, I have some more water. Some of the most common ones, so our bank help desk fraud, where they basically spoof, they use a phone number that looks very much like the bank's phone number. They contact you with some story that there's a problem with the bank and that you now have to do X, Y, Z to solve your problem. Of course, it's not the real bank, but when you Google the person, it looks like it might be the real bank. And then typically they will help you with starting up a TeamViewer or some other software to take over your laptop and to help you get your funds back. And obviously that's not what's going to happen. And the second form that's really common right now is boiler room fraud, where they pretend to be some kind of great investment scheme on usually some FX exchanges, where they say if you send X amount of money, you will get a certain percentage back. We will help you set it up. It looks like a really sophisticated website. And then you have, they will help you create your own wallet. And you send your funds there, and then you see great returns on the dashboard in the website, which of course are completely fictional. And they ask you to keep sending more and more. At some point, all of a sudden there's a problem again. To unlock the funds, you have to send even more. And on top of all that, after they are sort of finished with the return on investment, they will tell you, and you've become aware that you might not get your money back. They will tell you, we can help you recover it, and then you have to pay a small price for the recovering.
Fees on top of fees. It's worse than a gas fee on Ethereum.
Exactly.
Marina or Frank, anything to add to comment?
I think one of the most interesting things is the evolution of scams, the popularity of it, because when crypto started, at least when I got in, one of the most common ones was sextortions. And in my opinion, they seem to have completely disappeared. And then came the giveaways, like Elon Musk is very generous.
Can we have a show of hands of who saw an Elon Musk crypto giveaway on Twitter? Yeah, that's almost...
Yeah, if you're active like on social media at all, you should have seen them. And the investment scams, the boiler rooms, have always been there. The funny thing about them is they don't really seem to evolve that much. They're very amateurish. The way they use blockchain, it's a very rudimentary way. There's no mixing going on. There's no fundamental understanding of the technology, I think. And it still comes down a lot to social engineering, which is just a lot one-to-one talk with the victim, stuff like that. And the thing is, I think we're into a shift right now into AI-fueled scams, because you may have seen them on YouTube, appear them as well, fully AI-generated videos on how to build a meth bot. And I think we're on the, how do you call that, a turning point in the way, not how blockchain is going to be used in scams, but the way victims are going to be collected by the scammers. Mm.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, I can see like both like the presence of both like categories right now among the scammers, like the amateurish ones and the very like good professionals in the space. And I myself, I was also a victim of scam once, but it was a T-Mobile scam when they were switching the SIM cards and then trying to use the phone number to actually get access to the funds. But that was back in 2016. Yeah, I think right now I see two most critical like cohorts of scams being present and presenting a big threat to the society. The first one is so-called romance scams. Some people call them pig butchering. I hate this word because that implies, something not good against, towards people who are being scammed. We are in a very privileged group here, right? We know about scams. We tend not to talk to strangers, on the internet. But But think about elderly people, right? People who crave, lonely. They're they crave attention. And the worst part is that not only they're being scammed, but also compounds actually have been created in Asia, which are holding people forced to actually scam other people. And it's a very, very big problem. Some of the APAC countries already reported they're having about 1% of their GDP lost to these kind of scams. And that's a big, big problem right now. And I don't see actually any solution to that in the upcoming year at least. And yeah, this is growing in many, many countries. But that doesn't require much, besides the social engineering. But speaking about sophisticated scammers, I recently found a very interesting new trend showing up. The scammers do understand how blockchain analytics and threat intelligence solutions work. So they try to create fake artificial entities running artificial exchange or exchange of funds activity, and then they're reporting these artificial entities to the solutions like ours or maybe like yours. Then these entities they basically stop the propagation of the risk score. So they're basically creating an artificial activity that prevents. They think that it will prevent blockchain analytics solutions for automatically identifying how the laundered funds from any criminal activity are reaching to the exchanges like Bitvavo, for example. So this really requires a lot of time, a lot of effort to do. And the fact that we have found several of those makes me think that we have found many more. Haven't found yet, and this is actually some of kind of a trend that I see emerging very recently, and certainly we're going to see more of that in the future.
Cool, thank you. And then, so building on that, now we know a little bit more about the scams in the space. What do you think that that can be done about this? Now, I really want to remind you that we're at a conference about privacy and security, and privacy is very important, I think, to everyone here, right? One of the big things from this conference is privacy is normal. So what do you think that can be done moving forward around kind of at least reducing the impact of scams that are on the ecosystem?
Well, given I'm speaking here for myself, and this is my personal view, I think there should be a differentiation, between like who we are protect and from what. And I think the regulators also need to actually look at the cohorts of the users or people somehow exposed to digital assets, and then decide which cohort of users should be protected from certain things. And I'm actually a believer that people need to think for themselves. They need to do their own research. They need to be cautious, and they don't need to rely on regulators to actually prevent them from anything. And I think that's the key solution to a question of privacy, because if we don't expect, again, government to protect us from everything, then, again, we need to do our own work to be protected. In regards to, however, this really requires a collaboration from the regulators and from the law enforcement and so on, because this problem of romance scams is purely a question of education. And it really, people have to speak about this. And I'm thankful to, for example, John Oliver, Saturday Night Show, was covering this problem like 3 weeks ago in his show. And that made a lot of people aware of that, but it's not enough. It should be done much more about that. But should we do more than an education? That is a very good question.
Yeah, I'm going to probably say something you're not going to like that much. So it's becoming increasingly more difficult to distinguish reality from fiction. So we talk to a lot of victims. We do a lot of research into how these things work. And we're not even talking about AI right now. It's extremely easy to fool people into thinking that they're dealing with something or someone they're not dealing with. And it's not reasonable anymore it's never going to be reasonable to expect from users, from especially people who are new to blockchain. I think scammers are the #1 onboarders of blockchain users. I think that's in my opinion. They're very good at it, and I think it's unreasonable to expect people to protect themselves. I think it's, especially, I'm not going to name any names, but I know a lot of the big exchanges have a policy of see no evil. How do you call that? As long as they can cover it up, it's not their problem that their users are getting scammed. It's as long as the regulators are not punishing them, as long as they're not responsible for any of these things that are happening, even though they should be able to, as expert, they should be able to see more than they're actually claiming to see. My opinion is that exchanges are playing a crucial role in making it possible to easily launder money, but also to give scammers access to users. So I think a lot more responsibility should be placed at the exchanges themselves. There's like make them pay for the victims, make them pay for better security, for better methods. So that's my opinion.
No, I don't think my opinion changes. Is that different of yours? For centralized institutions, I'm very much in favor for actually a lot of regulation, because they act like these super banks without rules, without the rules of the banks. So as soon as you leave the blockchain, I think there should be a lot of rules and regulations and information providing in place. There was a competitor recently that won a case against people that have been scammed. Obviously, there is a big debate about if you lose your 2FA or your email is compromised and your phone number and they're talking to you, at what point, where does the responsibility truly lie? I think as an exchange, you should focus on at least building as many security tools to empower the users, to make it harder for attackers to exploit you. And to a further point, we didn't talk that much about pure blockchain scams, maybe. So, for example, you have things like dusting attacks, where they send a little bit of crypto to your wallet and then be able to track it when you start sending it, or address poisoning, where they hope you will think that you sent the transaction, but actually it was the scammer's address, and they hope you, whenever you send funds back, that you will send it back to the scammer's address. And there's the wallet connect scam, basically rebuilding dApps, but this time it's a malicious dApp, which is actually the way I got scammed as well, because I got a bit humbled playing around with the base chain and trying some new decentralized exchange on a base chain. One time you don't pay attention, and bam, your wallet is drained with one connect. So that's a humbling experience as well. But my point is basically, I think we can do more to increase usability, user experience from within wallet, from within centralized infrastructure, to enable or empower users more.
When I was responding to the question, I was thinking more about the final audience. You know, how do we make them aware that this is all happening? Because to me, there is I can see a lot of power in exchanges building in this experience. And actually, no one like you sees what's going on. Like, you're in the forefront of that. Even we don't see that as much as you do. And of course, you working like holding internal investigation unit, holding these investigations internally. Again, you have most of the power in your hands. But how do you move that forward to your audience? That's what I'm constantly thinking about. Like, how do we make final retail users, or again, maybe B2B users of your system, more aware about all of that and being, again, more sophisticated in their approach?
It's a tough one, because I'm an educator by heart, so I always believe in education. But at some point, stuff gets very technical in the blockchain. So it's upon us as the industry to make it easier to understand as well. How am I going to explain address poisoning to the average individual who's just an end user of the technology of crypto? So it's a tough one. I don't know. I would say my first instinct is always education and awareness, but I don't know if that's enough. So I think we need to understand that this is a big problem, or just like in many different industries, and we just need to try to help build great tools to prevent it in the first place, maybe.
Yeah, same here. Thank you.
These three wonderful people are here for you, so now's a good time to check on Slido and see if there are any questions that you think are interesting, or ask away. And I'll come back in a few minutes, and hopefully we can have some, I hope not any attacks or anything like that. I think this is the last big question that I have, but it's the fact that we've, as I mentioned, been talking about privacy this entire event. And the reality is if privacy is implemented at the lowest level, it has an effect on what information becomes accessible for on-chain analytics companies, which may have an effect of where scammers have somewhere to hide. Now, again, we want to be clear, privacy is normal, we all advocate for privacy, but I'm interested to hear kind of how you think, let's say, if there is large-scale privacy adoption across the entire ecosystem, how is that going to be affected for two big things? One of those is for compliance purposes, on-chain investigations, but also for all the traders and degenerates in the room, on-chain information is also a source of alpha. And so I'm interested to hear kind of what your thoughts are on that and where we're going. And yeah, whoever wants to take the lead on...
I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah, sure. Well, I can take that one. I'd say that for us, it's critical to understand what's happening behind the activity on the blockchain. Of course, like by building blockchain analytics solution, we are relying on the most, core feature of blockchain, right? Transparency and the fact that everything is being recorded. But again, this information does not contain any attribution to actually, what's going on and what it's referred to. Then people sometimes think that, blockchain analytics solutions are evil because they are putting some privacy information available for the banks or for someone else. It's not exactly true, because what we're interested in, again, to classify the type of activity that is happening and to attribute it to the organizations. And work closely with those people who are running investigations on that, assist them with, again, targeting the source, the root of the evil, for example, these scam compounds, that exist in Asia. Now to the question, like how we can balance privacy here, how we can actually help privacy happen. And I think my thoughts right now are going towards AI a lot these days, because what is happening right now is that I'm working in this space for like many years, and I'm looking at the on-chain activity, and with a very high degree of probability, I can look at the several exchanges interacting with each other, when they have been interacting, the nodes that have been processing these transactions, and I can tell that there is it's very likely that it's a drug dealer operating, and I can tell that. And if eventually that goes into the area where we can actually use AI to help us understand certain patterns. And again, this all can be happening, and we can warn our customers that our patterns are suggesting that there might be something particular happening there. It might not be illegal, right? It might be a service OTC desk, for example, operating there, or it might be like, just people paying for something together for something absolutely legit, right? Investment activity, whatever. That is my goal. That is my goal, to understand, again, to look historically, to understand what's going on, and to put a tag, put a label. Like, I think it's this, I think it's that. Because, again, it's not my goal as a blockchain analytics solution to put names there, or even names of the organizations. It's just labeling stuff, like creating some kind of a search engine across the blockchain. So I think there is a lot of power in that. And actually, my belief is that in the future, organizations like Bitvavo are going to be having their own models, actually, which are going to be operating on the data and then identifying what's going on. And therefore making a decision whether they think this activity is like risky or not. And again, that has nothing to do with the activities that are done by law enforcement, right? Targeting particular criminal activities, which involve a lot of information that is related to particular personalities. But usually, again, they do it by themselves. They just need solutions like Knegtel, for example, to just cluster and to understand what belongs where, to which cluster of activity, to which pattern. So I think the answer is there. And how do we become less focused on personal data and not use too much of a personal data that can be used wrongly, and focus on solving the biggest problems? Yeah.
I'd like to. I'm looking for. I know the Dutch word for it, but inhaken. Anyone get the translation? I'd like to add to that. So there's a hyper focus on identifying entities, especially if you look at Elliptic, if you look at Chainalysis. Almost their entire basis of their analytics is, can we identify this, and is this a bad actor. If it's not identified, it's not interesting, apparently, or something like that. And we see this with scams. They cannot identify these scam entities, and because they're not identified, it's approved in a certain at a certain level. Or maybe approved is a bit too harsh, but you can do a lot in blockchain analytics without knowing who's actually doing the transactions. You can easily, if you look at an address and it has tens of thousands of transactions, that's probably a hot wallet. It's probably an exchange. Is it part of a large cluster that sends to one of these addresses? It's probably part of the exchange. If it's one thing you need to understand is these cameras are using the same technology. They're using the same wallets. So identifying a malicious actor on blockchain is actually much simpler than knowing who's actually behind it. And I think a lot of the regulation that's being built, like KYC, identifying users, is because there's a fundamental flaw. Well, the flaw is that we're hyper-focusing on identifying entities, and that snowballs into identifying all of the users. Everybody needs to be KYC'd. Everybody needs to be identifiable. And I think like 90% of the, not 90%, like like a significant portion of scams could be prevented by not looking at who's actually doing it. But can we see any malicious activity, like you said? I don't think AI is. I think it's a new machine learning for analytics. So I don't think AI is a useful tool, especially because it doesn't allow for retraceability probably that much as it should. But I do agree with most of what you said.
Yeah, well, identifying is it a VASP or not, just looking by the velocity of the transactions definitely does not need any AI, that's true. It's cheaper to understand it without any kind of like machine learning, that is for sure. But the general, pattern approach,
Yeah, blockchain analytics is surprisingly simple. So
that is true.
Don't be fooled by fancy graphs or stuff like that. It's pretty basic.
If anyone is interested in all of that stuff, like the people are here today to really have those conversations. So Remy, any quick words on that? And I want to get to the audience questions. So
no, just to add to that also, as you said, you were attacking centralized exchanges a little bit earlier, or certain centralized exchanges, and I think that's totally appropriate for certain centralized exchanges. But there are many out there, and I would of course include Bitvavo in there, that are really trying to be not only compliant, but actively try to fight it, already using, to great extent, blockchain analytics software, but also looking into partnering with software that can, as you said, identify addresses where tens of thousands of people are sending money to block the withdrawal towards that. But then you run into other questions of, are you then limiting the freedom of movement of your users? But if it's for their own goods. But so the exchanges that try to be compliant are looking very careful at all of that stuff and utilizing blockchain and analytics to prevent a lot of scamming actually to their credit.
We've got a lot of questions, so we're gonna go to that. Thanks a lot. Okay, we're gonna try and do quick fire. So one of you answer, and if someone else wants to add something, please do. Otherwise, we'll move on. How do scammers off-ramp usually? Is the responsibility of the off-ramp service to stop them?
It's very simple. It's Wobi.
Wobi.
It's a lot of time. Well, it's not directly Huobi. It's an entity between Huobi and the scammers, and that's how you do it.
There are nested services, so basically businesses that are renting the infrastructure and wallets from exchanges like Huobi, and then Huobi says like, we don't know, that's our subsidiary, like it's our partner, we just give them our wallets, go them, ask them. God knows what's happened next.
My answer is yes. If you operate in a country with AML legislation, it is your responsibility to stop it. You should ask, where's this money coming from?
Where's it going?
Where's it going?
Okay, I don't know why this question's come up, but what are your thoughts around leverage trading on, for example, MX? I think that's how you say it. And the fact that lots of people get liquidated under their stop loss. I think exchanges do this on purpose. Any thoughts on this? It's not directly on topic, but people have upvoted it, so.
Well, if by now you're playing against the house, right? If you're trading on exchanges, it should be pretty obvious that exchanges trade against you with the whole FTX scandal, and Binance Labs does it as well, I think. So expect to lose, I guess. So.
Well, that's
Do more stuff on chain.
Yeah.
trading against you. That's a very cynical take, and there are definitely probably exchanges out there that do that, but I would not just throw us all in there, obviously.
No, probably not all of them. I mean, but we know that the largest ones actively traded against us. So it's you can assume exchanges are here to make money, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
Can we have like an audience like boop, boo? Come on, and more effort. Boo. Right. The next question is, what is your take about security level of embedded wallet solutions, wallets generated on top of emails? Yeah, what is your take about the security level of embed wallets, aka wallets generated on top of emails? So I think that's where you're not just generating a key with a seed phrase, but you're maybe adding layers, account abstraction, things like this.
I think also very similar to what Ton does, associating wallet with the address, with the account on Ton. Well, yeah. Cannot dive more into that. I think there are a lot of opportunities for building a reputational risk score system based on that, where users are actually somehow validating, who they're interacting with, and using that as an internal heuristics to identify is this a bad actor or not. But that's not related to security. I'm sorry.
Any other comments, or we'll move on? No. At Frank. That's you. How can sexes protect scam victims that willingly send funds to a scammer without harming privacy or usability?
Yeah, so there's this is just topic of responsibility, right? So is the user responsible, and how much does the exchange have to do? I've seen instances where people are being told by their family, they're being told by Bitvavo actually, dude, this is a scam. Being told by their bank, this is a scam. And then they just move to a different bank, they move to a different exchange, and they get scammed. And then they're like, what the fuck? Nobody warned me. So, so yeah, I guess the best thing you can do, if you know it's a scam, you just have to tell them, look, dude, go somewhere else. And inform them of it, but not enable them to do it. I know there's a couple of exchanges, the big ones, that don't care. They just transfer the money anyway. At least in the cases that we saw, maybe I didn't see a lot of cases where they didn't do it. But yeah, I think that's the only thing that exchanges can do, and they should do. They should tell them, like, move somewhere else, take your business elsewhere.
Yeah, fair enough. Last question. What's your view on meme coins? I'm not going to read the rest of it, but yeah, very quick, each comment, view on meme coins, and then we're going to finish it at that.
This is not going to last forever, definitely. So it's fun to look at that, especially how funds for meme coins are flowing from more like traditional crypto investment opportunities. So looking at that with interest, definitely going to see some explosions in this space and some unhappy people few months later. So yeah, I've seen these before, and I think we know what to expect.
I think it's pure art, some of them. I think it's closest to the original experience that a lot of us had, I guess, that people want to experience as well. I mean, if you're new to crypto, you kind of want to have the same ride that a lot of us had in the beginning, right? We knew it was shit. We knew we were getting scammed, but we figured I can get out on time. I can do that. I'm going to make a lot of money, and somebody else is going to hold the bag. I think meme coins are that, and the fact that they're being called meme coins, they're not being wrapped into these white papers, they're not being wrapped into like celebrity endorsements or stuff like that. People who buy them, they know they're going to get fucked anyway. I think they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, why doesn't Bitvavo have meme coins on it, man?
Oh, we have a lot of meme coins. So I've had to shift my and evolve my opinions a lot, actually, being involved with listings at Bitvavo. From my initial opinion, which in and of itself became a meme, I'm in it for the technology, which is still true, I hope. But then for me, I have to look at, in the end, we are just a marketplace. We should create a safe space where users can trade what they would like to trade. Unless it's a rug pull or a scam. So where do we draw the line? It's been very interesting for me to figure that out. If we see a lot of demand, we listed actually quite some meme coins, whereas in the early days we didn't even have Doge. But at some point, I mean that's what our users want, and we are there to serve our users, and obviously we also get a great amount of revenue from them. So I guess my current opinion is it's a great opportunity for the first time ever to invest in internet culture. but also, where's the technology?
Yeah, well, thanks ever so much for coming this morning, and I hope you also enjoyed it and learned something. So thank you.